recession models from the New York Fed, which are now signaling an elevated risk of a downturn. These models assign a 35.8% probability to a recession occurring within the next 4 quarters. Simultaneously, prediction markets are tracking a separate threat, assigning a 38.5% probability to stagflation by the end of 2026. Both scenarios are now being factored into active market pricing, meaning investors are treating these outcomes as meaningful probabilities rather than distant risks. This caution stems from a rare 4-part economic signal that was present during the 1973 and 2000 crashes, and it is currently flashing for the first time in a generation. Understanding how these 4 specific factors converge is the first step in identifying the specific economic environment they are creating. The current environment we face is defined by 3 converging shocks that effectively limit the economy's room to maneuver. First is a money supply shock. Trillions of dollars were created in a short window, driving the M2 supply to historic highs. Second is an energy shock, where global oil spikes have increased the cost of production and transportation across every sector. This mirrors the 1973 crisis, where rising energy costs created a sustained drag on global growth. Third is a labor market shock, with projections suggesting a significant loss of jobs by early 2026. When excessive money supply, expensive energy, and a weakening labor market converge, they tend to block the traditional pathways to economic recovery. These 3 shocks have effectively trapped the central bank, making it difficult for them to use their standard tools. If the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates to stimulate the job market, they risk fueling inflation further and triggering stagflation. If they keep interest rates high to fight inflation, they increase the pressure on a fragile economy and likely force a recession. Stagflation is a particularly difficult scenario because it combines weak growth with inflation staying above 3.5% and unemployment rising past 5% simultaneously. Because there is no policy move that doesn't carry a high risk of economic distress, a market decline is a central expectation within these models. With a decline anticipated, the focus shifts toward positioning for the recovery that typically follows a crash. The immediate step is building cash-based positions to serve as a defensive buffer while the market remains volatile. Historical data suggests that once a decline begins, it often takes roughly 10 months for the market to find a stable floor. Re-entering the market too early during this window can lead to significant losses as the decline continues to play out. Maintaining cash and exercising patience ensures that capital is available for reinvestment when assets eventually reach their lows. Re-entering the market requires deploying cash into specific categories that are historically resilient in this macro environment. This includes energy assets like oil and energy ETFs, along with real assets such as copper and critical minerals. Hard assets such as infrastructure and farmland provide essential value that tends to persist regardless of broader market sentiment. Investors also look toward Treasury inflation-protected securities for fixed income and defensive stocks in utilities and healthcare that possess strong pricing power. Gold is often avoided in this phase. It is primarily an asset driven by fear, whereas this strategy focuses on acquiring growth assets at the bottom of a cycle. Those who prepare for these signals are often best positioned to benefit from the recovery that follows. Subscribe to Suburban DIY for more strategies